If you've been working hard, doing what you were taught to do, and still feel like money passes through your life instead of settling into it, this conversation is for you. Not because you're doing something wrong, and not because you lack discipline or effort. In fact, for many people in the US right now, especially those who carry family responsibilities, fixed incomes, or long years of steady work, the problem isn't earning. It's that nothing seems to stay. Money arrives, bills follow, unexpected expenses appear, and the sense of financial ground under your feet never quite firms up. That pattern can quietly wear you down, not just financially, but emotionally. You start to wonder if stability is something meant for other people. Here's the part most conversations skip: not every year responds to the same kind of effort. Some years reward speed, expansion, and taking risks. Others respond better to structure, pacing, and containment. 2026 is one of those years. It's not asking you to chase harder, invest faster, or push yourself past your limits. It's asking a quieter question: when money comes into your life, is there a place for it to land? Or does it immediately feel the need to move on? Think about water poured onto a surface that's slightly tilted. Nothing dramatic happens. The water doesn't disappear. It simply keeps moving. Many people are living with that same subtle imbalance. They're not failing, they're just missing a stabilizing point. That's where this conversation begins, not with promises of abundance or quick fixes, but with the idea of creating a sense of rest for money, both in your home and in your mindset. This is why the Money Bowl for 2026 isn't about attracting wealth. Attraction is easy in a fast-moving year. Retention is the challenge. The real work is learning how to slow the flow just enough so opportunities don't rush past. Decisions don't come from pressure, and money doesn't feel like it's always one step ahead of you. When stability comes first, prosperity has a reason to stay. Part 1, 2026 is not a year to move faster. If you felt an almost constant pressure to speed up, work more hours, make quicker decisions, stay visible, stay productive, you're not imagining it. Over the last few years in the US, life has quietly trained people to believe that slowing down equals falling behind. Costs rise, systems move faster, expectations stack up, and many adults, especially those who've spent decades being responsible, feel like they're running on a treadmill that never stops. By the time 2026 approaches, that exhaustion isn't dramatic anymore. It's normalized, and that's exactly why this year is different. Not because it demands more effort, but because more effort will quietly cost you more than it gives back. Here's the key shift: most people miss. 2026 does not reward speed the way recent years did. In a fast year, movement creates opportunity. In a year like this, movement without structure creates loss. Many people will work harder than ever and still feel unstable, not because they're doing too little, but because they're doing too much, too quickly, without a place for things to settle. This is where frustration builds. You check the numbers, you review your habits, you try to be disciplined, yet the sense of financial ground never quite firms up. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means the rhythm you're using no longer matches the moment you're in. Think about how often busy now passes for secure. Full schedules, constant motion, and rapid decisions can look productive on the surface, but underneath, they often hide fragility. When everything is moving, nothing is anchoring. And when nothing is anchoring, even good outcomes don't last. In 2026, this shows up very clearly. Money comes in faster for many people, but it also leaves faster. Opportunities appear suddenly, but they demand immediate responses. If you're always reacting, you never get to choose. That's the quiet cost of speed this year. This is why slowing down in 2026 isn't about doing less. It's about doing fewer things with more containment. It's about creating pause before decisions, boundaries around commitments, and space for resources, time, energy, money to actually rest. Without that pause, people burn through gains without ever feeling more secure. With it, even modest income starts to feel steadier. The emotional shift is noticeable. Anxiety softens. Choices feel clearer. You stop bracing for the next hit. And here's the most important point: slowing down does not mean stepping out of life. It means stepping back into control. When you move one beat slower than the pressure around you, you start to notice what's sustainable and what's just noise. That awareness becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Because before money can stay, before stability can grow, and before any external structure can work, your pace has to change. The rest of this conversation builds on that single idea. In 2026, the people who feel the most secure won't be the ones who move fastest, but the ones who finally give their lives and their money a place to land. Part 2. The problem isn't making money, it's having nowhere to hold it. For many people, the hardest part to accept is this: earning money is no longer the main issue. Most adults watching this have proven, again and again, that they can work, adapt, and generate income when they need to. They've taken extra shifts, delayed retirement, learned new systems, downsized, upsized, pivoted careers, or quietly carried financial responsibility for entire families. And yet, despite all of that capability, there's a familiar feeling that never quite goes away, the feeling that nothing sticks. Money comes in, but it doesn't settle. Relief is brief. Stability feels temporary. And no matter how carefully you plan, something always seems to pull resources back out. This is where the conversation usually goes wrong. People assume the solution is to earn more, hustle smarter, invest earlier, or optimize harder. But what if the issue isn't the amount coming in at all? What if the real problem is that there's no structure strong enough to hold what you're already receiving? Imagine pouring water into a container with a hairline crack. The water doesn't vanish. It simply never accumulates. From the outside, it looks like you're constantly refilling the cup. From the inside, it feels like you can't get ahead no matter what you do. That's what many financial lives look like right now: capable, active, but quietly leaking. In the US, this shows up in very practical ways. Rising costs, constant subscriptions, medical surprises, helping adult children, aging parents, home repairs, and lifestyle inflation all create tiny openings where money slips out without much notice. None of these are reckless choices. They're normal, responsible, even. But when they stack up without a container, without a system that slows the flow, money never gets the chance to rest. And when money can't rest, neither can you. The nervous system stays alert. The mind stays busy. You're always preparing for the next expense instead of standing on solid ground. Here's the emotional truth most people don't say out loud: instability is exhausting, even when you're doing fine on paper. It's not the size of your income that creates peace. It's the sense that what you earn has somewhere safe to land. Without that, every dollar feels temporary. You spend it before it arrives, mentally or literally. Decisions get rushed. Opportunities feel stressful instead of exciting. And slowly, you start to associate money not with support, but with pressure. This is why the focus shifts here from making money to holding it. Holding doesn't mean hoarding. It doesn't mean fear or control. It means containment. Clear boundaries. Fewer leaks. A structure that tells your life what comes in is allowed to stay. Once that structure exists, something subtle but powerful happens. Even modest income begins to feel steadier. Choices slow down. You stop reacting and start responding. The constant background tension eases. And this is where everything connects to what comes next. Before any tool, ritual, or adjustment can work, there has to be a place physically and mentally for money to pause. Without that, nothing accumulates. With it, stability becomes possible. The next step is understanding how to create that container, not by forcing more income into your life, but by changing how your life receives what's already there. Part 3. This bowl is not for asking, it's for holding. If you approach this bowl as something you use to ask for money, it won't work, not because asking is wrong, but because asking keeps you in a posture of reaching instead of receiving. Many people come to practices like this already tired, already stretched, already carrying the quiet fear that if they don't keep pushing, things will fall apart. They hope an object, a ritual, or a method will finally tip the scale in their favor. That mindset is understandable, but it misses the real purpose of this bowl entirely. This bowl is not a request sent out into the world. It's a statement made inward. It says, what comes into my life has permission to stay. In American culture, We're taught early to focus on acquisition, earn more, build more, upgrade, improve, move forward. Even wellness and spirituality often get framed as tools to get something: more success, more abundance, more ease. Over time, that constant forward reach trains the nervous system to stay slightly tense. You're always waiting for the next thing to arrive, the next improvement to happen. The problem is that when something finally does arrive, money, opportunity, support, you're not set up to hold it. You're already leaning toward what's next. This is where so much quiet loss happens, not through mistakes, but through momentum. The function of this bowl is to interrupt that momentum. It does not promise to bring money into your life. Life already does that in one form or another. What it does is create a physical reminder of containment. Containment is not restriction, it's stability. Think about how different it feels to place something valuable on a solid shelf instead of balancing it on the edge of a table. The value of the object hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has. You're no longer bracing. You're no longer watching it out of the corner of your eye. You trust that it's supported. That shift from vigilance to trust is what this bowl is designed to cultivate. There's a reason this matters so much in 2026. As we discussed earlier, this is a year where movement is strong. Decisions come quickly. Opportunities ask for fast responses. Without something anchoring you, it's easy to say yes too quickly, spend too automatically, or commit before you've fully considered the long-term impact. The bowl works quietly against that pattern, not by stopping motion, but by slowing it just enough for awareness to catch up. Every time you see it, you're reminded that holding is an active skill, not a passive one. You don't just receive stability, you build it. This is also why the bowl is not about belief in the abstract sense. You don't need to convince yourself that it's powerful or magical. Its effectiveness comes from repetition and presence. Over time, it trains a different relationship with money. Instead of money feeling like something that visits briefly before leaving again, it begins to feel like a guest you know how to host. You make space. You prepare the environment. You don't rush it out the door. This subtle change affects behavior in ways most people don't consciously track. Spending becomes more intentional. Decisions carry less urgency. You stop confusing motion with progress. Emotionally, this is where relief begins. When money has nowhere to land, the mind never rests. Even during good months, there's a background hum of concern. But when you build a container symbolic and practical, you send a different message to yourself. You're no longer asking life to give you more. You're showing that you're capable of caring for what you already have. That sense of capability is grounding. It restores dignity. It shifts the conversation from scarcity to stewardship. And this is where the bowl connects directly to what comes next. Holding requires a foundation. You can't contain anything without something stable underneath it. In the next section, we'll move into what creates that foundation and why money, by itself, can never be the first layer. Before abundance, before growth, before even intention, there has to be a base that doesn't wobble when pressure hits. The bowl is the container, but every container depends on what it stands on. That's where the real work begins. Part 4. Before money, there must be a foundation. Before money can stay, before stability can grow, there has to be something underneath it that doesn't shift when pressure arrives. This is the part many people rush past, not because it's unimportant, but because it doesn't feel urgent. Foundation work rarely does. It's quiet, it doesn't announce results. Yet without it, nothing holds. If you've ever noticed that even good financial months leave you feeling slightly tense, as if you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, that's not a money problem. That's a foundation problem. Money can sense instability long before we name it. In everyday American life, foundation isn't a dramatic concept. It shows up as predictability, clear limits, and a sense of internal order. It's knowing what your baseline expenses are, how much uncertainty you can tolerate, and where your true stress points live. It's also emotional. If your nervous system is constantly on alert, bracing for emergencies, interruptions, or sudden demands, money never fully relaxes in your hands. You may be responsible, organized, even successful by most standards, but without a felt sense of ground, everything you earn remains provisional. It feels borrowed instead of owned. This is why money cannot be the first layer you build. When money becomes the foundation, it has to do too much work. It's asked to provide safety, confidence, identity, and peace all at once. That's an impossible job. The moment income fluctuates or expenses rise, the entire structure shakes. People then respond by tightening control or pushing harder, which only increases strain. True foundation works the opposite way. It absorbs shock. It allows movement above it without panic below. When the base is steady, money can move without threatening your sense of security. Think about how we build anything that lasts in this country: homes, businesses, careers. The strongest ones aren't the most impressive on the surface. They're the ones that accounted for weather, wear, and time. They were built with the expectation that things would get heavy sometimes. Your financial life needs that same kind of preparation. A foundation doesn't prevent challenges. It makes them survivable. It gives you the ability to pause instead of react, to choose instead of scramble. Emotionally, this is where people feel a shift they didn't expect. When the foundation strengthens, the constant background anxiety begins to soften. Decisions stop feeling so loaded. You're not asking every choice to save you or protect you. You're simply asking whether it fits. That's a powerful change. It restores a sense of dignity and self-trust that many adults lose after years of carrying responsibility. You're no longer proving that you can handle things. You already know you can. This is also why foundation always comes before intention. Setting goals, making plans, or visualizing outcomes without a base underneath them creates pressure instead of clarity. Intentions float. Foundations hold. When the base is right, intention becomes calmer, more precise, and more realistic. You stop wishing for relief and start preparing for continuity. That's the difference between hoping things work out and building something that can last. As we move forward, everything that goes into the bowl rests on this idea. The bowl itself is a container, but a container without a stable base tips easily. Foundation is what allows containment to work. It's what tells your life, and your money, that it's safe to slow down. Once that message is established, the next layers don't feel forced. They feel natural. And that's when stability stops being something you chase and starts becoming something you stand on. Part 5: Wealth should not exhaust you. If building wealth consistently leaves you drained, tense, or running on empty, something important is being missed. Not morally, not strategically, but energetically and practically. In American culture, exhaustion has quietly become a badge of responsibility. People take pride in being busy, in pushing through, in proving they can carry more than is reasonable. Over time, this creates a dangerous assumption that struggle is the price of stability, and fatigue is evidence that you're doing things right. But wealth that requires constant depletion is not sustainable. It may look productive for a while, but it slowly erodes the very capacity needed to hold what you're building. Many people reach a point where they're no longer chasing luxury or excess. They're simply trying to feel less tired, less tense when checking accounts, less reactive when expenses show up, less worn down by the idea that every gain must be earned twice, once by effort, and again by recovery. When wealth exhausts you, it doesn't feel supportive. It feels conditional, as if rest is something you're allowed only after everything is handled. Everyone else is taken care of, and nothing unexpected is waiting around the corner. That kind of wealth never feels like it belongs to you. It feels like a responsibility you can't set down. This is where the conversation needs to shift. Real prosperity does not demand that you sacrifice your nervous system. It does not require constant vigilance. It does not improve your life while quietly draining your body and attention. When money is held within a structure that's too tight or too frantic, it creates pressure instead of relief. You may be doing well by external measures, but internally, you're always bracing. And over time, that bracing becomes the most expensive cost of all. Think about how often people equate control with safety. Tracking every detail, responding immediately, never letting things sit. On the surface, this looks responsible. Underneath, it's exhausting. Wealth that's built on constant control requires constant presence. You can never fully step away. You can never fully rest. The moment you do, anxiety fills the space. That's not security. That's maintenance under strain. True stability feels different. It allows you to loosen your grip without everything falling apart. This is why the idea of softness matters here, not softness as weakness, but softness as absorption. Just like a rigid structure cracks under repeated pressure, a life without any buffer eventually does the same. When there's no room for ease, every challenge hits harder. Every expense feels personal. Every delay feels threatening. Wealth should create margin, not remove it. It should give you room to breathe, not demand that you hold your breath to keep it intact. Emotionally, this is often the turning point. People realize they don't actually want more money if it comes at the cost of their health, their peace, or their ability to enjoy the life they're sustaining. They want steadiness, predictability, a sense that effort leads somewhere calm instead of somewhere heavier. When wealth is allowed to exist without constant effort attached to it, something shifts. You start to trust that things can continue even when you slow down. That trust is not naive. It's built through structure, pacing, and containment. This is why, as we move forward, the focus is not on adding more tasks, more pressure, or more ambition. It's on creating conditions where what you already have doesn't drain you, where money supports your life instead of consuming it, where rest is not a reward, but a built-in part of how stability works. Wealth that stays should also sustain. If it doesn't, it's not doing its job. Part 6: Enough is a form of wealth. At some point, many people reach a quiet realization they don't talk about very often: having more doesn't automatically feel safer. In fact, for a lot of adults, especially in the US, more has become strangely tiring. More choices, more subscriptions, more obligations, more financial noise. Even when income increases, peace doesn't always follow. Instead, expectations rise with it. Lifestyle expands, commitments multiply, and the finish line keeps moving. This is where the idea of enough starts to matter, not as a limitation, but as a form of relief. Enough doesn't mean settling. It doesn't mean giving up ambition or lowering standards. It means recognizing the point at which additional accumulation stops improving your life and starts complicating it. Many people are earning more than they ever have, yet feeling less grounded than they did years ago. That's not a personal failure. It's the result of living in a culture that rarely pauses to ask what is sufficient. When there's no internal definition of enough, money never signals completion. It only signals the next level of pressure. In everyday life, this shows up in subtle ways. You upgrade something and immediately notice what else now feels outdated. You increase income and almost automatically adjust spending. You tell yourself it's reasonable, justified, earned, and often it is. But over time, the margin you hope to create disappears. The sense of, I'm okay, gets replaced by, I have to maintain this. Enough, when it's undefined, keeps slipping just out of reach. The emotional cost of that pattern is significant. When nothing ever feels complete, your nervous system stays engaged. There's always something to manage, optimize, or protect. Even good things feel provisional. Enough changes that dynamic. When you consciously define what truly supports your life, what covers your needs, respects your energy, and allows for some uncertainty, you create a natural stopping point. Money no longer has to prove itself endlessly. It meets its purpose and can rest. This is why overflow is not always a sign of abundance. Sometimes it's a sign of imbalance. Too much movement, too little containment. When resources exceed the structure holding them, waste follows, not just financial waste, but emotional and mental waste. Attention scatters. Priorities blur. The very things meant to provide comfort begin to demand upkeep. Enough brings things back into proportion. It allows resources to circulate without spilling over into stress. From a practical perspective, enough creates clarity. Decisions become simpler. You're no longer asking, can I get more? But does this add value to the life I actually want to live? That question changes behavior in quiet but powerful ways. Spending becomes more intentional. Commitments feel cleaner. You stop adding layers just because you can. And surprisingly, that restraint often leads to greater satisfaction than expansion ever did. This idea also prepares us for what comes next. When enough is honored, money stops chasing growth for its own sake and starts serving stability. It becomes easier to see which elements in your environment support balance and which ones quietly drain it. Enough creates space, not emptiness, but room. Room for money to stay. Room for energy to recover. Room for life to feel held instead of stretched. And once that space exists, the next step isn't about accumulation at all. It's about harmony, how money moves through your relationships, your home, and your daily choices without creating friction. Part 7. Money rarely gets stuck in numbers, it gets stuck in people. When money feels blocked, most people look first at the numbers. Income, expenses, interest rates, timing. They assume that if they could just earn a little more, save a little better, or plan a little smarter, the tension would ease. But for many adults, especially in long-term family and work roles, the real friction isn't mathematical. It's relational. Money moves through people before it ever settles into accounts, and where relationships are strained, unclear, or emotionally charged, money hesitates. It slows down, it leaks. Sometimes it stops altogether. In everyday American life, this shows up constantly. Money decisions are rarely made in isolation. They're shaped by spouses with different risk tolerance, adult children who need help just for now, aging parents who require support, business partners with unspoken expectations, or workplaces where compensation is tied to approval and politics as much as performance. None of this is dramatic, it's ordinary. But over time, these relational currents quietly dictate how money flows. You may be perfectly capable with numbers and still feel financially stuck because every dollar carries emotional weight. This is why money often feels heavier than it should. It's not just paying for things, it's navigating dynamics, saying yes when you want to say no, avoiding conversations that feel uncomfortable, carrying resentment, guilt, or obligation without naming it. These emotional undercurrents don't show up on spreadsheets, but they influence spending, saving, and earning decisions every day. Money moves more easily where communication is clear and boundaries are respected. Where tension lingers, money tightens. It doesn't feel welcome. It doesn't feel safe to stay. Many people sense this but don't know how to articulate it. They feel drained after financial conversations. They delay decisions. They avoid looking too closely. Not because they're irresponsible, but because money has become entangled with relationships they don't want to disrupt. Over time, this avoidance becomes costly. Opportunities are missed. Resources get allocated out of pressure instead of choice. Money starts to feel like a source of conflict rather than support. There's also a quieter layer here. How you relate to money often mirrors how you relate to people. If you tend to overgive, money overextends. If you avoid conflict, money gets misdirected. If you struggle to ask for what you're worth, money reflects that hesitation. None of this is a flaw. It's learned behavior. But it means that improving money flow sometimes has less to do with better strategies and more to do with cleaner interactions. This is where harmony becomes practical, not sentimental. Harmony doesn't mean keeping everyone happy or avoiding hard conversations. It means reducing friction so energy can move. Clear agreements, respectful limits, thoughtful pacing. When relationships are steadier, money stops bracing. It circulates with less resistance. Decisions feel lighter because they're not carrying unspoken tension. As we move forward, this matters because any structure you build for money, any container, system, or ritual, will only work as well as the relational environment around it. You can organize numbers perfectly and still feel stuck if the human side remains tangled. When relationships soften and boundaries clarify, money doesn't have to work so hard. It starts to flow where it's actually needed, without constant negotiation or strain. And once that friction eases, the final piece becomes clear. Where you place money, physically and symbolically, determines whether it stays calm or becomes restless. That's where placement enters the conversation. Part 8. Place matters more than you think. Where something lives shapes how it behaves. We understand this instinctively in everyday life. Food spoils faster when it's left out. Important papers get lost when they don't have a designated spot. Even people feel different depending on where they're asked to sit or stand. Money is no different. It responds to its surroundings, not symbolically, but practically and emotionally. When money is placed in environments that feel rushed, hidden, or unstable, it behaves the same way. It becomes restless, it doesn't linger. And over time, that restlessness shows up as quiet financial drain. In American homes, space carries function. Kitchens are active. Bathrooms are transitional. Entryways are about movement. Offices are about focus. Living rooms are about presence. When money-related objects or intentions are placed without regard to that function, friction appears. Not in a dramatic way, but subtly. Decisions feel hurried. Spending becomes unconscious. You stop noticing where resources are going because the environment itself encourages movement instead of pause. Money doesn't feel held, it feels like it's passing through. This is why placement matters more than most people expect. It's not about perfection or following rigid rules. It's about asking a simple question: does this space invite things to stay, or does it encourage them to leave? Areas associated with disposal, constant heat, noise, or clutter communicate urgency and release. Even if everything looks fine on the surface, the underlying message is motion. Money placed there picks up that cue. It doesn't settle, it keeps moving. On the other hand, spaces that are visible, calm, and intentional create a very different response. When something is placed where you naturally pause, where you sit, reflect, or gather, your relationship to it changes. You notice it, you respect it, you interact with it more consciously. That awareness alone alters behavior. You're less likely to act impulsively, more likely to consider before spending, more likely to protect rather than chase. Placement becomes a quiet form of guidance, shaping habits without force. There's also an emotional component that's easy to overlook. When money-related items are hidden, shoved aside, or placed low to the ground, it reinforces a subtle discomfort around money itself. Out of sight often means out of relationship. You avoid looking. You avoid engaging. Over time, money becomes something you manage reactively instead of something you relate to deliberately. Visibility isn't about display or pride. It's about acknowledgement. When money is allowed a dignified place, it stops feeling like a source of tension and starts feeling like a neutral, supportive tool. This is especially important in a year where everything already moves quickly. If your environment constantly pushes energy outward, there's no counterbalance. Placement becomes that counterbalance. It says, here, things are allowed to pause. That pause is where stability forms. Not because money is frozen, but because it's no longer being rushed along by the space around it. As this conversation comes together, notice how everything connects. Pace, containment, foundation, ease, enough, relationships, and now place. None of these work in isolation. Each one supports the others. Placement is simply where all of those ideas become visible in daily life. It's the final reminder that stability isn't created through intensity, but through alignment. When money is given the right environment, it doesn't need to be chased or controlled. It naturally finds a way to stay calm, present, and supportive. And that calm presence is what allows everything you've built to finally feel like it's holding together. Final. If you step back and look at everything we've explored together, a clear pattern begins to emerge. Not a mystical one, not a dramatic one, but a very human one. Instability doesn't come from a lack of effort. It comes from living in a constant state of motion without enough places to rest. Pace, containment, foundation, ease, enough, relationships, and placement are not separate ideas. They're parts of the same system. When one is missing, the others strain to compensate. When they work together, something simple but profound happens. Life feels less fragile. Nothing here asks you to believe in shortcuts or sudden transformation. In fact, the science of it is straightforward. Systems, whether financial, emotional, or physical, need structure to function well. Without structure, energy dissipates. With it, even modest inputs can produce steady, reliable outcomes. This is why slowing your pace matters. Why defining enough matters. Why relationships and environment matter. They reduce unnecessary friction so resources don't have to fight to stay. When friction drops, stability rises. Not dramatically, but consistently. If you've recognized yourself in any part of this conversation, the exhaustion, the sense that things never quite settle, the feeling that you're always managing instead of standing, you're not alone. Many people carry this quietly, especially those who have spent years being dependable for others. There's nothing wrong with you. You haven't missed a secret. You've simply been living without enough containment in a world that rewards speed more than steadiness. The idea behind this bowl, and everything surrounding it, is not to add one more task to your life. It's to change the conditions under which your life operates. To create a pause where there was constant motion. A surface where things can land instead of slide off. When money, time, and energy are allowed to rest, they begin to support you rather than demand more from you. That's not philosophy. That's how systems regain balance. I want to thank you for staying with this conversation, for giving it your attention and your time. That alone speaks to a desire for something deeper than quick answers. As you move forward into the year ahead, my wish for you is simple and sincere, that you feel a little less rushed, a little more grounded, and a little more supported by what you've already built. May stability feel familiar instead of distant, and may what comes into your life finally have a place where it can stay.